Broadcasting from the Mayhem Moon, it's Dynamite in the Brain with your host Brian Smith and special guests Bradley Meek and Dwayne Moloney. Hello, fellas.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
This is our first non-Anthony thing, though he now assures me that he will be back after saying originally, I don't think I want to do podcasts anymore. A couple of weeks later, he was like, I'm sure I'll be back eventually. So this is a new non-numbered regime. I was like, what is the point of episode numbers apart from scaring people off when they see 300 or something episodes ahead?
Well, it's not like they have to catch up, right?
That's not, but I was like...
Well, I mean, there is some deep Dynamite in the Brain lore, right? Like, how many in-jokes are you going to miss when you jump in on episode 300?
Quite possibly, but actually not too many nowadays. I think the in-jokes were early on, and then we slowly eliminated the in-jokes. So, yes, this is a episode number 3, though there will be an episode number if you look at the meta tags. But we must say now that the year is 1999, 2 years after the launch of the comic One Piece in the pages of Shonen Jump, an anime adaptation produced by Toei Animation launched on Fuji TV. 20 years later, this event and the subsequent 890 or so episodes were celebrated with the release of the film One Piece Stampede, and that is the thing we are here to talk about today, because it's just come out on Blu-ray over here. I don't know how recently it came out on Blu-ray over there, Bradley.
A few months ago.
And also, this is the last film I saw in a cinema.
It might be the last film that you see in a cinema.
Quite possibly.
If you gotta go out in a big one, huh?
Yeah. They're reopening the cinemas here on the 31st of July. I don't think I'll be rushing to... watch whatever's coming out. Oh, probably that Christopher Nolan film, isn't it? That's Tenet. Is that what it's called?
I mean, like if it's starring David Tennant, maybe.
Tenet. I think it's Tenet. I wouldn't be going even if there wasn't a epidemic.
Okay.
So this is what they say. This is the official synopsis. I think off Funimation, but I got it off the manga website for when they were promoting the film in the cinema. The world's boldest buccaneers set sail for the Great Pirate Festival, where the Straw Hats join a mad dash race to find Goldie Roger's treasure. There's just one little problem. An old member of Roger's crew has a sinister score to settle. All bets are off when the most iconic pirates of One Piece history band together for a swashbuckling showdown, the likes of which have never been seen. You know what? It's a reasonably accurate synopsis for a change. Normally we read these synopses out and we barely recognise the film we've just watched.
They definitely lean into the piratey stuff with the swash. There's very little buckling of swashes in One Piece.
That's true. And they band together for a showdown, but it's not the final showdown. The final showdown.
There is a showdown. Yeah.
Yes, but right. There's distinctly less pirates in that final showdown. So before we start talking about this film, me and Dwayne need to know, Bradley, how far are you into the story so we don't spoil much for you?
That's a big worry.
I appreciate your consideration. I have caught up to the end of the Reverie arc in the One Piece anime adaptation.
Okay, so they've not gone to Wano yet.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't talk about Wano.
Don't talk about Wano. Okay.
I feel like I can talk around it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing which does touch upon Wano, and obviously when this came out in Japan, the big reveal of the movie ties into a flashback arc within the Wano arc, which comes shortly after this movie came out, and so it was like a nice tease to say.
I have heard that the Wano arc has a flashback arc about Gold Roger, so
it does.
If you're kind of talking around that, I'll be okay. I can live.
Yeah. It's not only is it about Gold Roger, he cleverly manages to wedge in a whole load of other characters' backgrounds into the arc as well.
It's very good. It's like it's actually shorter than you feel like it takes place in is like, wow, a lot fucking happened in that flashback. It's like, it fucking did. It covered a lot of ground.
Jeez. In a One Piece story arc? My goodness.
I know. I don't know if editors are on the job or something, but yeah, it's definitely it's nice and clean.
Except because then he's introduced the thing that there's going to be another flashback from Roger's youth at some point, which is going to confuse things even more. But yes, it was handy that the person whose flashback it is has met most of the important people during his lifetime, and so therefore we could we don't have to do all their flashbacks. So, what do we think of this film before we get into the nitty-gritty of it? Bradley, what was your take on One Piece Stampede purely on a pleasure level?
I'm glad you added that stipulation because I loved it. Just in terms of like tickling the One Piece fandom part of my brain, this was good. This was a lot of fun to watch. In fact, it's kind of what got me to go back and watch the whole Cake Island arc and the Reverie arc in more or less a single sitting after I saw the movie in theaters, and it just reminded me in the best way, this is why I love this gigantic, unwieldy, weird franchise. It swings, it just goes for the biggest swings constantly and constantly escalates in just the best way. Oh, I was delighted by it.
Dwayne.
Now, I wouldn't recommend watching this film to see if you'd like One Piece. I wouldn't start here, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah, same as you, Bradley. It is very much so like a big fucking celebration. It's like, hey, there's that guy, you know, that kind of thing. Everyone gets to do their special attacks, and it's very appealing. There's not much depth to it as some of the other films have, but it is a super fun time. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I think this would be a good starting point, because for a certain type of person, I feel like
it's too fucking confusing to start with.
Oh, but the story's very simple. But
I guess there's that. Yeah.
I can kind of see where you're coming from, because it is a condensed introduction in some ways to all of the important characters in One Piece.
Yes.
Literally nobody is left out. There's even cameos of some of the filler characters from the filler arcs in the anime who
that guy
show
looks
up
interesting.
again.
What's his deal? Oh, he's got a whole fucking deal.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody has a whole deal in this. You see an interesting character design? Yeah, there were 30 or 40 episodes about them.
I think it would probably work better on that front for kids. Because I think kids, when you're
I like brain, this guy with the robot arm. What's his
exactly? Because I remember as a kid getting a secondhand Spider-Man comic and going through it, and on like one page there was just a picture with Wolverine on it, and I was like, I don't know who that guy is, but I want to know his deal.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. I haven't really considered this from the kid point of view. I'm thinking of the adult thing of seeing the fucking hundreds and hundreds of chapters of One Piece and going like, I'm not going to read that. That's too fucking long. But from a kid point of view, they're just like, well, I got a lot of life left to live. Let's go for it. Show me the cool shit.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I remember the other thing you'd get as a Marvel fan in the 80s, there was the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, where it's just this catalogue of characters. And this feels a bit like that, as particularly like in the very first part of the movie, where it's just throwing character designs at you throughout the entire history of the anime. Yeah, and I
there's literally an announcer there giving character introductions.
Yes. And I think there's a certain type of child brain where that can get you hooks into it. Look at that. It's that desire to learn more, even if the thing you're learning about is a pretend world full of pirates. Which in my case, when I was a kid, it was a pretend world full of superheroes. But yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot when I saw it at the cinema. I have to say, its weaknesses are more apparent on a second viewing.
Yeah.
But it is still enjoyable. I think there's enough stuff because I think the first 2/3 are good. The second third has an issue which we'll get into, but I feel like the actual writing of the characters around that last third counteracts any shortcomings it has, because the character work is great. And this is where, if you are a fan, it's seeing characters who wouldn't normally interact have their personalities bounce off each other. You get a lot of time with characters who are beloved, but because of their nature don't get much screen time in the TV or in the comic, because they're there to show up on occasion to be a big deal and aren't there. I mean, that's even a case with the entire crew for the past decade probably.
Yeah, to the point where the main characters are off doing their own thing on the sidelines because there's too much else going on. We don't have time for that.
At least everybody's there in the comic at the moment. So you got that to look forward to, Bradley. Eventually everybody will be together.
Everyone is here.
Yes.
It's like a good Pretty Cure All-Stars or one of the big tokusatsu superhero time summer movies that gets all the Kamen Riders or all the Super Sentai together.
Oh yeah, this is definitely like a team up movie for sure. Yeah. Except this one's more like the odd team up, the team ups that is just like, hey, we never get to see these guys all interact at the same time. That'll be fun.
Yes, because I mean when Oda did that colour spread of who the people are in the final team up, that's the thing which made me go, I want to see this film because I want to know exactly why all these disparate people are teaming up together. Yeah, and that's what gets you hooks in, and it delivers. It gives you what you want, unless what you wanted are characters pertinent to the Wano arc, in which case they're not there at all, unless you're in the worst generation. But yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, no, there's no Big Mom, there's no Kaido, there's no Minx, there's no Samurai. And weirdly, this seems to be, well, obviously it can't fit into continuity, but also within this story, Law's still a Shichibukai.
Yeah, I feel like the main thing that it's just like the fact that they're calling them warlords is like maybe they're referring to their former title as an easy catch-all term, that kind of thing. Other than that, it's like you could maybe fit it in after Wano, but I doubt there's going to be room after Wano.
No. I suspect the after Wano is just going to continue until the end of the series at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it's gearing to Endgame, basically.
Yeah.
In the years that are left in it.
Yeah, he says he wants it done by his time is 50, so that is the start. That's January 2025. We will see whether he can manage that. It's definitely sped up its storytelling, that is for sure. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty and the details. So if you don't want any spoilers, turn off now. But if you do, stay tuned. Right, let's get into the story. We open with a flashback to just after the Impel Down arc, where we see the scene where Blackbeard was making all the prisoners in the toppermost or bottommost security of Impel Down fight each other, and they're like, oh, we'll fight, whoever survives gets to join our crew, but then they're like, not you don't get a fight.
It's so fucking childish, and I still love it.
The guy is just too much of a badass to even join the Blackbeard crew. They could not control him.
Yeah, so this is a guy called Douglas Bullet. There are some pretty great names in this, and he's being played by Tsutomu Isobe, who apparently is the dub voice for Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, Chow Yun-fat, Bruce Willis and others, and was Harry McDowell in Gungrave.
It's all the tough guys then.
Yes. And yeah, this is what this guy's deal is he wants to be the toughest guy. And he's eventually set free by a guy called Buena Festa. And then my brain was trying to stretch around, is this a commentary on Disney? Is it supposed to represent Buena Vista? And I was like, probably not. I think it's just good festival.
Is his character design based on a celebrity I don't recognize?
I don't know. He doesn't look like the guy playing him, who is a celebrity, which is Yusuke Santamaria.
Right.
The host of the 20 million yen quiz Money Drop, and he was also in the Bayside Shakedown TV series and movies.
A name like Santa Maria, they could have left it as is, and he would have fitted in One Piece just fine.
Yes. So this is the setup. This is the background here. These are our two villains.
Quick question about Buenafesta. I couldn't figure it out. Is he a long leg guy, or is he just weird looking? Because I can never. It's like, is this guy in One Piece a giant, or is he just a really big guy?
I think he's just weird looking.
Okay.
Based on the long legs we have seen, who've got incredibly long legs.
Like, I thought he might be short-legged for a long leg guy.
He also gets a lot of fun camera work anytime he's monologuing.
Yes.
So I think that also can kind of throw your perspective a bit on how tall he actually is.
Yeah, because he doesn't seem to be that tall when he starts crawling over the tables in excitement at various points. Of the two villains, I think Buenafesta is my favourite of the two. I think his character works a bit better than Douglas Bullett's.
He's got more energy, and it's all manic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ties into Roger in a really interesting way. But that said, what I like about Douglas Bullitt is that this is the One Piece canon finally pulling out the motivation card for I just want to be the strongest, which they haven't. Usually One Piece characters have very specific motivations that are tied to some tragic backstory. But this is the first time they've pulled out the stereotype of, no, I just want to be the strongest. And they do it for a villain.
Yes.
Well, often it's I want to be the best, but like, because Zoro wants to be the best swordsman in the world, he doesn't want to be the strongest guy in the world. That's
exactly
like, no, I want to be good at this one specific thing.
And he does that because of his tragic backstory with his childhood friend, who I still think was murdered, but we can get into that later. in my One Piece conspiracy corner.
I think that might just because he, as one of the earliest characters, he has the shortest tragic background.
Oh, they'll get back to it. They have to get back to it.
And then we go to present day, where the Straw Hats have received an invitation to go to the Pirate Fest. An establishing shot of Nami's boobs and ass. As we,
Hell yeah. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
You did, yes.
And jokes aside, one of my favorite things about this new era of One Piece movies are all the efforts they put into the costumes for everybody in the movie.
I love the fact that everyone gets several costume changes. Yeah, it's really nice.
And they're all so good. Oh,
Was this another one where the Uniqlo were partially responsible for some of the costumes, so you could go and buy them in the shops?
Was that gold?
It might be gold. Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was anything in the credits for this one or not.
There are some more outlandish costumes. If you could go in and buy them in a clothes shop, that'd be kind of fucking amazing.
Yes, I'd like the giant turtle skull, a turtle shell, please.
I would love to wear the summer body shirt, but I'm not a giant skeleton, so it'd look foolish on me.
Yeah, I think the summer body shirt is the one which made me think that there was a Uniqlo credit in there. And yeah, Luffy declares, who cares if it's a trap? We're going to go. It's going to be exciting. Because it's something to do with Gold Roger is the treasure that you might get. And then we get the credits and a massive montage where you can play Spot the Character.
Yeah, I had to go through and pause several times in that.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember who else. There's all the guys from the Hot Springs cover story. Are there. Trying to remember who else is there. Those are the ones that I was particularly took note of. And
the easiest one is like everyone on Water 7 is on the train.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that's easy.
Oh
okay.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
The octopus guy from the Fishman Island arc.
Yeah, himself and Cammy and the starfish are running the stand.
And there's one
He's
person
just doing a cannibalism very casually.
Yeah, there's one person.
They're not intelligent octopus, so it's okay.
Yeah. They conspicuously cut the head off one character, which made me think that was supposed to be Bentham, and then maybe he'll show up at some point wearing that costume in the comic. Because, yeah, I'm sure we've not seen the last of him.
There was guys in the film who showed up with like there was one thing of like a young marine like pinning some pirate with pink hair, and I was like, that's got to be a guy from the show because I've no fucking clue.
Yes,
who that guy
he is a guy from Is it the most? No, it's not quite the most recent filler because the most recent filler would be the one leading into this movie.
Right.
But yes, he's from a. It's a arc which basically made it take them longer to get to Big Mom's Island.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually a pretty good arc.
It is, yes. Partly because it's a small number of the characters, and it gets them to write some more stuff for Carrot.
Yep.
Well, then I definitely need to go back and check that out. There's so much filler I've fucking skipped and stuff. Yeah.
I don't remember them doing a filler arc to promote the movie.
Yeah, they hire there's a guy called Cedra, who's like a bounty hunter, and it's like a fizzy pop island.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not very good.
No,
but
there's
some
good ideas there, and you think it give more for Frankie to do, but you know.
Yeah, Hancock shows up as well. I think. Oh, Hancock, is it Hancock and Boogie show up? Hancock definitely shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a short arc, and yeah, it's just to do some fizzy drink related concepts. It turns out they basically, it's like at the start and the end, the bad guy talks to Buena Festa. As if just, okay, this is related to the movie. Come see the movie.
Well, shoot, now I need to go see that. I've got to see everything.
Then we see Festa's control room, and this is where we get to see like everybody's bounties are up on the wall, which I think gives you a chance to spot some bounties that I don't think had been necessarily made official. There's I think one of them's the fake. Or is it? No, I don't think it's I can't remember if it is the fake Luffy or whether it's the other guys who were with Caribou who were trying to join the fake Straw Hats. I think it might be those guys. The thing is, don't tell the one rule is don't tell the Navy, and then we immediately see a cut where Rob Lucci is walking around in no disguise whatsoever.
There's a lot of people there. He's not going to get noticed.
Well, to be fair, he's the head of secret police. People should know what he looks like. And our commentators are Donald Moderate and Anne.
Just Anne.
Just Anne. Anne is played by Rino Sashihara, a former AKB48 member. And Donald Moderate is played by Ryota Yamasato, a comedian and commentator on Terrace House.
Was he the guy who got caught with drugs and they had to yank him out, or is that a different guy?
No, he's just a guy who he's like the people who were like, here's a bunch of celebrities talking about what's going on in Terrace House.
Okay.
Apparently he's a mate of Oda's.
Okay.
So Anne is established here that she has what's it called? The Viso fruit, which allows her to create an illusion based on any picture she touches. This will be important for a thing right at the end of the movie and not important at any other time during the movie.
Weird, put a Chekhov's gun in it. I did like your man's design of a far too long peg leg. I thought that was pretty good.
Yes. Law shows up injured. And
he's kind of running around in the back alleys, clearly running away from somebody.
Yes.
I do like the way they kind of contrasted that, because everything else is so bright and colorful, and obviously he's running in the back alley, so they can use a more muted palette, and it's like, oh, okay, here is the danger. That kind of
Yep. You instantly know, because it's Law, that of course he figured out that there was something else going on. Now he's got to tell somebody.
Yeah, I mean, when we get later on, when he's trying to lay out the plan, that definitely has echoes with what's currently going on in the comic. Thankfully, in the comic, he's learned his lesson about making plans.
So this did happen before Wano.
Well, no, I think he learnt that in Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Yep.
and all the other things which have happened in Wano.
It's like herding cats, so just let the cats loose.
Yeah.
And plan around it.
Just don't even tell them the plan. Just trust them to behave to their natures. So who he's fleeing from, it turns out, is the Boogie Pirates, who are the security for this festival.
The worst choice for security, I gotta be honest. Who made this pick?
Well, they've got a heavy reputation. They've
got a lot of guys, so maybe he got like a package deal, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's
maybe
sheer
Buggy
number.
is just especially bad at negotiating, so they knew that they could get him for cheap.
He's a warlord of the sea. He's very important. He's a very big man, or a very regular-sized man in a big costume.
And he also has no concept of money, it turns out. He just likes treasure.
And we also see Smoker and Toshigi are here in incredibly bad disguises.
Again, yeah, no Marines, except a bunch of Marines, secret agents, yeah. I mean, like, Smoker looks a bit more gangster than he usually looks, but he's still smoking, so it's no disguise.
And has an open shirt. Open shirt, yeah. It's and I feel like people would know what Smoker looked like.
Yeah.
And then we get to the treasure hunt that's going to take place. There's a whole bunch of shopping has gone on, and is it Chopper and Luffy have stuffed themselves into enormous sizes?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's just in the intro bit before they actually get to talk or anything. They've already filled themselves to the brim.
And in deep, lofty darkness, you will find your answer, apparently, is the clue. Which turns out to be a water spout. And then I was like, what is this called in the series? There's a thing this is called, and then thankfully they said it before I had to look it up. A knock-up stream.
Yeah. That moment in particular, when I saw that in the theaters, was like hearing something I hadn't heard in years somehow made me go, oh, shit, right, I do love this thing. Just Knock Upstream in particular, I remember being absolutely fascinated by the Skypiea arc, that was the direction they took that story after the Alabaster arc. And I thought Knock Upstreams were a super fun idea, was a great way to get pirates up in a sky kingdom. So I was so glad to see it there again.
Is that the way the thing works to get into the new world as well? Like the stream that goes up the mountain, or is that a different scenario?
Stream that goes to the mountain, that's to get into the Grand Line, isn't it?
What is that called, a knock-up stream?
I don't think it is,
one that
no.
shoots straight up into the fucking
think
sky?
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
In the same way it's different to you getting up that waterfall in Wano.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and so, this launches an island in a bubble into the sky. And then we get a good view of all the pirates heading up the stream with the Thousand Sunny going ahead as it transforms into a flying penguin. And
Is that new? That felt new.
I think it was new for this, so they could sell a new kit of this toys of this version. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last flying version was like the merry-go that was like dressed like a chicken.
Yes, I think it was. So we've got all the Worst Generation pirates are here, plus the Beautiful Pirates and the Barto Club. And of course, they get the advantage now of this gives the characters a chance who haven't seen the Barto Club ship to finally react to it.
That's nice. I do love that fucking ship.
It's such a good detail that they remembered. Who wouldn't have seen this yet?
Yeah.
And Wapol and his good lady wife, and I think the Foxy Pirates are here as well, aren't they?
The Foxy Pirates, what's your man? Helimpo? He's a hippo-looking man.
Yes. Yeah. Wapol.
Wapol.
Yes.
But I don't think their names are ever said out loud in the movie. It's just they're too unimportant.
Voiced by the same
I let
person.
the credits scroll and it's all the fucking characters, and I was just like, Jesus Christ! And like they brought back whoever voiced Portia, and I was like, did she even say anything? Dear.
Yeah, I think they brought them both back because they're both voiced by Bin Shimada rather. He does Wapol and Foxy.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer, yeah.
Do you think, because it's probably, well, okay, it probably hasn't been years since he's voiced Wapol, since he shows up in the Reverie arc, but like, do you think he needed like a refresher to how exactly does Foxy sound? Because it's been 7 or 8 years since.
Do you think, as a reminder, the quickest way to do it would be what way do they laugh again? And then you do the laugh, and it's like, okay, no, I got it. It's like a little cheat code.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's got to be how it is.
It is, yeah. I mean, the fact is, there's certain of the main cast who've gone years without voicing their character. So.
Jesus, yeah, that's so weird.
But I'm sure they're doing it for like video games and toys and things. So.
Yeah, they're probably not out of One Piece work.
And I think sometimes they come in and voice other characters. I think has
or
happened.
animals.
Yeah. Yeah. So, they got the killer's nickname, the Massacre Soldier. I wrote that down. And then once they get onto the island, you get all the fights that the comic might not ever give you. As we get all the worst generation facing off against each other. Before Douglas Bullet shows up. And Buenafesta gives him 10 minutes to defeat this lot. Because that's when the Buster Call's going to come. That he's secretly set up with the Marines, who have just...
I'll gather all the pirates
into
into one place, you blow the fuck out of them.
Oh, I'm sure it's more than 10 minutes, but he says 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's got like it does have a wrestling card feel to it. You know, this is your main event, a big battle royale for all the other pirates who are just too low tier to even compete to watch.
Oh, yes. They're trying to get a treasure chest down there, and Bullet doesn't show up until the treasure chest has been got by Buggy, sees what it is.
Using the spyglass, Nami sees is like, hey, there's a shabby chest there. That's probably the actual treasure because it's on top of a pile of gold.
Yeah, Nami recognizes that instantly.
And everyone else kind of, I guess, overhears that somehow and goes like, oh, everyone go for that tiny treasure chest. And Buggy obviously sneaks up behind everyone.
They're all professional pirates.
That's true. That's true.
Treasure.
But how did Buggy figure it out is what I'm asking.
Well, Buggy knows.
Treasure. He just doesn't understand money.
Yes, treasure's his thing. That's his big thing. That's why.
He does get to crack open the treasure chest, and as soon as he sees it, he's like, "Oh, this is too fucking hot for me. I gotta get rid of this."
And it makes sense because he knows. Because Bullet, we learned that they're both on Gold Roger's crew. We already know that. He's
like the first guy to recognize him. Is like, "Oh fuck, I know that guy."
Yes.
Can I stay on the battle royale with the worst generation for just a minute here?
Sure.
Because I'm trying to remember where we are with all this worst generation characters right now. One of them is dead, right? The Mad Monk was killed when he went to...
No, he was...
no, I think he showed up on a cover again. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine. Okay,
yes, because last time we saw him, he was in one of the Sky Islands tending to his wounds from having just... being chased out of Big Mom's territory after he beat up one of the generals.
Yeah, I think he beat up one or two.
He beat up one, so there was one general already taken out before Luffy got there.
Yeah, and then he was like beaten up by like Oven or something, one of the high-ranking guys.
Well, by Cracker, I think.
Was it Cracker? Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So now they've only got one, which is the one with the long legs. Smoothie.
Smoothie, yeah.
I should know because she's the first DLC for Pirate Warriors 4. So he's up there when Kaido attempts his suicide attempt.
Okay. This was my first time at least remembering what X Drake's fruit does. Like he turns into a dinosaur, apparently.
Like an Allosaurus, I think.
They've teased it. They teased it plenty of times, but you didn't get to see it until Wano.
Okay.
You've seen like silhouettes. I think there's like a silhouette during the Sabodi arc.
There's a bit of him where he's half man, half dinosaur.
Yeah, there's a bit more of a silhouette during the Caribou cover arc, which of course hasn't been animated.
I don't think we've seen him get in a fight in the comic. in full dinosaur?
I can't remember because it's
Yeah,
mainly
I remember it, is what I feel.
it's mainly the other dinosaur in that fight, isn't it? You're gonna get so many dinosaurs, Bradley.
It's great.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Dinosaurs and samurai? My goodness.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know whether we actually see. I mean, obviously, having Pirate Warriors 4 because he's all over that as one of the non-playable villains. But yeah, he's does he turn into Allosaur? You say, yeah, an Allosaurus. You are correct.
Yeah, you think it'd be like a T-Rex, but I guess Oda's an Allosaurus man. So
I spent a lot of time during this battle royale trying to remember what everybody does because it has just been so long since they've been relevant to the plot of One Piece. Outside of course, a couple of them.
Like the most recent one you probably saw was Jewelry Bonnie, right?
No,
because she was in Reverie,
Belle.
wasn't she?
Yeah, she's in the Reverie.
Yeah, I mean she's
is
hiding in the Reverie, but
she isn't doing much, but yeah, she is in it. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
she's disguised herself. That's right.
And we conveniently she doesn't get to use her power because that would have kind of deflated the entire movie if we were then kicking the shit out of a baby version of Douglas Bullet.
Or an old man.
I mean, what's fun is she's not above that, so...
That was definitely her plan. There's a shot later on that I didn't understand what the fuck she was doing because she appears to summon birds, and then on rewatching it was... She's actually turning eggs into fully grown birds as a distraction, which I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really weird power.
It is. And we don't even know what Erogi does yet, apart from being super strong and getting stronger. I don't think it's ever clear what exactly his abilities are.
The theory is he turns damage into muscle mass, kind of like Strong Guy. Because after he gets hit in this, like he becomes bigger than he usually is.
Yeah.
That's about all I got.
Whereas me and Dwayne are all too familiar with most of these people because they are all over the Wano arc.
Oh, yeah.
It's by the way, this brings up another thing. Why do you think none of the emperors are here for the festival? Are they just too big to even go to a lowly pirate festival?
I guess they have their kingdoms, whereas all these pirates are trying to eke out a survival, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we know Blackbeard wants nothing to do with Douglas Bullet, and I imagine based on what we learned of his situation, he would know about it. And yeah, I'm sure Kaido and Big Mom have got their own shit going, and according to one of the covers, well, I'll just assume Shanks was at a wedding.
Yep, that tracks. That all tracks.
I don't think we still don't know who that wedding was, because it wasn't the person I thought's wedding was, because she does not appear to be married. Though she may be soon, but we will see. It was weird we didn't get a Shanks cameo, I would say. Like just some sort of reaction after the fact, maybe.
He seems like the kind of guy who'd show up for the party, then fuck off as soon as shit goes down.
Yes.
Or show up at the end party, whichever.
Whereas it makes sense with Kaido and Big Mom, because they both stay within their territories.
Yeah,
for the
they
most
very
part.
much so stay on their kingdom. Unless you're dragged out by being so mad at Straw Hats, for example. I don't know.
And with Blackbeard, you can just say he was saying, "Oh, it's not destiny for me to go to this, so I'll stay at home." Also, when we see where he is, you'll also know that he's having a far bigger party where he currently is in the comic. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, though, there's another part of the story with the rest of the Straw Hats who are running around trying to figure out what's going on and running into Smoker. Because they've met with Law because he's warped himself onto the boat, saying, everything's not as it seems. We must investigate.
I guess at this point we do have a part of the Straw Hat crew that are dedicated to like subterfuge and spying and sneaking around. Like it's always Robin, it's always what's the skeleton guy's name again?
Brooke, yes.
Brooke. Yeah.
Yeah, they do infiltration pretty well.
Yeah.
Which makes sense with Robin, because it's like, yeah, she was literally doing that for years, and also, you know, what she was doing for years after that. But Brooke is kind of like, he's a giant skeleton. It's like, oh yeah, because he can
detach his soul from his body.
And that's a power that I always forget that he has until he uses it again. Oh yeah, he can do that too.
It's the kind of thing. Robin's one of my favorite characters, but I have to accept right now. It's like she's never going to get a good fight, really. It sucks.
Fishman Island, I think, was probably a highlight.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's hardly any her going to be paired off with someone who the powers will interact in a really interesting way. That kind of way.
Yeah, because even like the current arc is going to be a lot. Everybody's got Zoan powers, so it's just going to be a fist fight regardless of who you're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of people for everybody to pair off against somebody.
Yeah,
on both sides. Smoker's being his usual obstinate self. We get Smoker versus Sanji, which is a fight I don't think we've had before, because normally he's fighting Devil Fruit users, so he can.
That's kind of an interesting one because like he nearly grabs Robin, but he does like disable Brooke and Chopper straight away because just grab them in the smoke kind of thing. But Sanji's kind of like, yeah, the sea stone thing isn't going to do jack to me, so. Yeah,
and he's got arm of attacky, so he can kick you while you smoke as well. So,
so he's not. He can actually fight him, which is unusual enough, I guess.
Oh, and this is where we find out about the Buster Call, right?
Yes.
Yeah, their spying kind of proves
Robin
it's like
overhears Festa talking about, and then they immediately run into Smoker and try to tell him, but Smoker ain't listening. He just wants to fight.
When he was hiding among the pirates, he was like, "I'd love to arrest every one of these pirates, but we have to catch the big guy." So he's sneaking around, he's like, "Pirates!" and then he just goes into arrest mode straight away.
And after they get away from Smoker, we then get Crocodile appear and call Robin Miss All Sunday. And he also has a plan.
Yes. That bit was so good. I never realized that, of course, they've never met up since the end of the Alabaster arc.
Yeah.
And in terms of like Robin getting characterization and shit to do, not much to do in the movie besides find that map that gets them escape. And it was like, okay. But the thing of it, like having her reactions to there being a Buster Call calling in, having Crocodile show up, it's like, yeah, fucking hell, this was a rough time for her. A lot of your past coming back to haunt you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming she's spoken to Luffy and learnt that Crocodile is a slightly different person to what he used to be.
I mean,
No, he's still a scumbag.
He is still a dick, but yes, he's a dick without the level of power, and he's a dick. He's a public dick now, rather than a secretive, backstabbing dick.
That's the thing. He doesn't have the power that he used to anymore.
I'm not even sure he has a crew.
Still
does
exactly the same jerk.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a crew. He's just operating on his own.
He's got Daz Bones. Still, I think they were still together at the end of the war, weren't they? But yeah, I don't know if
I thought all those numbered guys teamed up together or something like that. But maybe I'm thinking.
Daz Bones and him were the only ones who ended up in prison.
Oh, they're the only ones who ended up in prison.
That's the end of that arc. Is the rest of them getting them two put in prison? Oh, and Bentham goes to prison as well. I think does Bentham get the trick? I can't remember how it works. I can't remember if they turn themselves in or Bentham tricks them into getting all of them turned in. But that arc ends with them getting arrested, which is why they're in the Impel Down arc. And Mr. 3 as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the lower ones. Oh, it's because the one, the little girl who's got the painting non-Devil Fruit powers, just she can hypnotize you with her paintings. She hypnotizes all like the lower level ones into like following their dreams and not being secret conspiracy
they're
people.
Not criminals anymore. They're all reformed. I forgot about that. Jesus.
And I think it just doesn't work on the other ones
because I assume like their will is too strong. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget that she's got a power which isn't Devil Fruit related and isn't Hacky related. It's just this other power she's got.
Jeez.
There's all kinds of weird stuff in the world.
Yeah. Should probably never show up again. So, well, she probably will. I'm sure every single character is going to show up in the final arc. That is generally my feeling. So they fight Douglas Bullet and it goes kind of okay for Luffy, but then he reveals that, I wasn't even trying. I hadn't even been using a devil fruit yet.
Yeah, he's fighting the worst generation, and they're not doing much of a thing, but just they are wearing him down. I was like, well, time to bring in my ship and use my power.
Yeah, he's
and
also
they were like,
kicked
oh, fuck, you got a power too? Fuck.
Yeah, and he came in by kicking the shit out of Usopp as well, so that was
nasty.
Yeah.
But at least it gives Usopp some badass moments.
Yeah, and during the fight, we now I know what how Apu's devil fruit works. When he uses his devil fruit in this movie, it makes a lot more sense.
Is it based on the range of sound? That kind of.
I would guess it is, yes, because he's literally saying kaboom and things in this movie, and then explosions happen. So yeah, I think he has to make that travel louder by beating on himself like a drum.
So I think he has to play himself as an instrument.
Yeah,
how it works. Yeah.
Huh.
It's another weird one.
Yeah, it seems to be like Onomatopoeia, the was it Green Arrow or Batman villain that it was Green
I think
Arrow
it was Green Arrow and then Batman, but I don't think did he have any powers? I thought he just said sound effects.
Maybe, but but this guy, Apu seems to say a sound effect, and then the thing that would make that sound happens.
That sounds like one of those things that works better in a comic than it does in an anime adaptation.
It sounds like something that works best on the playground, is what I think.
We also get Big Father show up, and I like how excited Luffy is to see Big Father.
Yes. That joke does not get old. Probably because it only happens like once every 100 episodes when they're actually together for Big Father to show up again. But
this made me the wonder that is the Big Mom arc of Capone Beige goes from shooting a guy we like in the back and pushing him off a cliff to being a guy we like by the end of the arc.
So the guy we like and are rooting for because we like him and his extended family. What the fuck?
And his cool robot. Don't forget the robot.
Yes. Poor Peckhams.
Based off the covers thing, I'm actually a big fan of random guy who's in the background of the crew of the beige fucking mafia family.
Yes.
The guy who looks like all the other guys in the crew? Yeah.
No, the guy with a chain gun for an arm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is really good.
Yeah, what appears to be Capone Beige's cover arc turns out to be that guy's cover arc.
It's fucking amazing. I'll have to see when they adapt that because that sounds like it'll be a good time.
Yeah, that is the thing they have promised, is that when the comic's finally over, they will go back and animate all the cover arcs that they didn't do.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Like, there's so many guys you could just follow in the world of One Piece, and it'd be a really fucking interesting story. Just the power levels would be on kind of a different scale.
Yes,
chain gun arm is not going to take you a lot of places in that world, but it'll do you pretty good.
Yeah, so then we get this is around the time we get Bullet's declaration of what he wants is to be the strongest in the world. We also get around this time we get Fujitora versus Zoro, where Zoro manages to slice a meteor in half.
And then that doesn't do good because now you've got
two smaller meteors
coming down.
But luckily Mihawk is here and helps him out, and then decides we're
helps
going
him out
home.
/ shows him up, which is like that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he goes home, dragging Perona with him.
I forget how useful her ability is because you have your man, what's his name, with the hatchet show up, and it's just like, oh, that guy's a badass. It's like, oh yeah, but now he feels bad.
Douglas's power is the clank clank fruit, which allows him to take objects and mold them,
reform them into something else. I think he's like
he's a Gatai man. He literally says Gatai, so it's the Gatai fruit, making him a Gatai man. So he does the robot combined thing, but with any object he wants.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking like what was his name in the X-Men? Was it Proteus? He could control atoms or something like that. I thought it was that, but yeah, you're right. It's just combination.
No, it's the gasha fruit.
Gasha, gasha.
It's the onomatopoeia that refers to pieces of metal hitting each other.
Oh, okay. I heard Gatai like.
He may have
combined,
called himself a
and I
Gatai man,
thought-
quite possibly.
It's probably a pun for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I was a little disappointed because I thought, a combination like a Gatai fruit for a character. I want that for more than just like the villain in a movie, right? that is something I thought would be cool to just have one of the characters in a story arc could be around for a while to have.
Yeah, especially the people in the crew would find it great as well, apart from Robin, who refused to form the leg. Was it the arm or the leg she refused to form?
I think it must have been an arm, because otherwise how would it stand up?
Well, that's true.
Oh dear.
Robin's too old for this shit.
Yeah, she's not too old for a badly drawn dragon, though.
That is true.
So we get Foxy wanting saving. Doing the fight. Now he's got a giant robot. Douglas Bullock kicks everybody's ass and he's about to kill Luffy when Usopp makes a recovery and starts flinging seeds at him, which appears to be just enough to distract him enough to save Luffy. We don't see Douglas finishing Usopp. It's like shot from a long distance. You just see like a massive cloud of dust, and he proceeds with his carnage towards the Marines, who are now landing along with the Shichibukai. Hancock shows up, demanding to know where Luffy is. Smoker runs into Hina and Kobe and Helmeppo. We briefly see Django and what's the other fella?
Full body?
That's the fella.
Hina has to have the highest ratio of my interest in that character to how much time is actually spent on her. Because every time she shows up, she just seems so cool.
Yeah.
She's always like smoking a cigarette. She's got this cool power where she's just touching guys and like putting them in chains instantly.
Yeah, she like clotheslines guys and just puts them into fucking shackles, and I was just like, that's rad as shit.
So good. And she's never there for more than like a page or two.
Yeah. Just shows up to be awesome and then fucking leaves.
Yep. Like once every like 10 volumes or so. It's wild.
We should mention that we've now seen what the treasure is. It is a log pose with the phrase "laugh tail" written on it.
Okay, am I crazy, or in the theater release did that say Rev Tail?
It said "laugh tail" when I saw it. Yes.
It wasn't subtitled as that, was it? Maybe?
Because
when they say it out loud, maybe.
Both the anime and I've seen Revtail before.
I think it used to be spelled Raftail. Raftail.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a mistranslation, or was that like it being passed down? They actually forgot what it was called. The island is called Raftal, and it's just like no, it's Laugh-tail. It's just the story got passed from playing a game of telephone where you kind of lose the actual words that the initial thing was.
Huh.
That's the way I thought it. It might have just been a complete fucking mistranslation.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
It could be.
In my head, that had Revtall probably, or something like that.
No, it was
on it. Like
it was Raftel on the Funimation and the Viz comics until it was seen written down, I think here first, and then not too long after in the comic.
See, part of my thinking of it's like, it just passed down and people picked up the information wrong, is like everyone keeps calling Gold Roger, and it's just like because they were just reading his bounty poster and not noticing the punctuation. That kind of way. It's just like, hey, that's not his name, lads. It's GOL space. I don't know. I think it could be either. It's hard to fucking know sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's an advantage for it to have been confusing. And once you learn...
It makes it more of a legend, sure.
Yeah, once you learn why it's called Laugh-tail, I think it being obfuscated by the clumsy katakana and then the clumsy translation. Yeah, it makes it more of a reveal when they explain why the island's called Laugh Tale.
I mean, like, if that was the intention, then well done.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Which they don't explain here. You'll have to wait for that, Bradley.
All right. That sounds vaguely sinister now that you say that there's a backstory to it, actually. Oh, no.
We know we kind of know some of the context for it, but we don't know the specific reason why it's called that. I assume we're only going to find that out once we see One Piece.
Yeah, well, yeah, Dwayne knows my theory, but
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, so he's got this, and then he reveals he's not only does he have a devil fruit, it's an awakened devil fruit, and this allows him to spread his power even further and turn into a slightly crappy CGI monster.
It's a nice render.
No, it doesn't look good. It looks blurry in a weird way. Oh, man. What happened?
I did like the effect of the little purpley crystals growing over stuff. I thought the way that moved, it kind of flowed, and I was like, that's nice. But yeah, it didn't really extend to the super giant. I can't even call it a robot after that point, right?
No.
It's mostly made out of dirt and battleships, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the downside, I think, and it's not alone, because Yokai Watch does this pretty much every movie at this point of ending it with a really big CGI monster that has to be fought by everyone teaming up against it together. I don't know whether it's just expected. The family audience want to see. You come to see your anime, but you also want to see. Oh, I want to see a bit of CG, please.
I want to see a big spectacle, and the only way you can say big spectacle is CGI giant monster.
Or whether it's just the sheer amount of money that standalone Doraemon did. That like, well, we can't afford to make it all in CG, but we can throw a bit of CG in. We will see, but the CG here is not as good as Stand By Me Doraemon. And hey, Stand By Me Doraemon doesn't look as good as that Lupin the First that the same guy's done most recently. Man, that's good. It's a good-looking movie. But then this leads to... Yes, it's Chopper and Brooke are rescued Usopp and Luffy. They're on the way back. Robin and Nami and the rest of the crew are trying to figure out how to get out of here. There's like a buster call incoming. Barto's constantly wanting to know what he can do to help. He loves taking orders from Nami. But the Luffy comes round and he basically tells them, you guys go to the ship. I'm going to finish that guy off. And then we gradually have various characters run into each other and argue with each other until Luffy shows up and gets them all on the same. Basically, Law's got a plan and he has a great deal of difficulty trying to convince Smoker and Sabo, who've just bumped into each other.
Yeah, Smoker's like, that's a big pirate, I better arrest him. Sabo's like, hang on now, we should probably like come at this together, even though we're kind of on the opposite side. But in this case, we're on the same side. And Smoker's like, a criminal, I need to arrest that. And Law's like, hang on, we should work together, lads. Boa's like, hey, where's Luffy? And Luffy smashes into the ground in front of him. It's like, oh, there he is, brilliant.
Also, at this point, Hancock has dragged Buggy with her because she found what she thought was Luffy's red jacket under rubble and pulled it out. And it was...
Buggy is in this scene, but in all these scenes, and not really contributing anything, but that's kind of the joke.
Yeah, the best bit is the heroic cutaways to everybody, and it's just Buggy's legs sticking out of rubble. When it
they do that like 2 or 3 times, where it's like the heroic pen. Yes. I fucking love that. That's so good.
It is exactly 3 times. I counted it in the cinema because I was like,
excellent. Okay.
It's rule of 3s. They did it exactly right.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, it ends up with crocodiles here as well, and yeah, Luffy immediately heads off before even hearing the plan. So who is it? It's the guys we've got are Luffy, Smoker, Hancock, Sabo, Crocodile, Law, Buggy, and then Rob Lucci shows up
It's
to
kind
help
of like
out.
Crocodile and Rob Lucci are kind of like hanging in the background waiting to rob the log post.
Yes.
Is more so
Yeah.
what they're doing, but they are
Yeah.
helping a little. Yeah, sure.
And the key to Law's plan is while the devil fruit's pretty bad, the problem is this guy's armament hacky is so great that he can cover this massive body in it, and so they've got to break through the armament hacky to even stand a chance at tearing him down. Luckily, Law has a power which is very useful in doing such a thing.
Oh, a few of them have powers that it's like, let's interfere with it. Like Crocodile is like, I'm going to stick a bunch of sand into your, as you're forming it. And your man's like, I'll just turn that into like myself after. And Law's like, okay, I'm going to move that bit. And it's a good thing Buggy brought his, crap, what is that called? Not a buggy ball. His stupid little cannon thing that he shoots at his leg.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
His very effective weapon. It saves the day.
Yes.
Wait, wasn't that just Rob Lucci?
No,
hitting,
no,
the
no.
hand,
that
or
was
that
coincidental.
earlier?
No, it was
Oh.
definitely Rob Lucci actually doing the fucking damage.
Okay.
But from Buggy's point of view, he didn't.
This part of the movie is kind of a blur for me.
Yeah.
It's probably like the weakest part of the movie, I think, because at some point it had to slow down for a bit, and it had just been escalating for so long that when it kind of slows down 2/3 into it, I lost the thread a bit here.
It's definitely juggling a lot of balls. Yeah.
Yeah, muggy balls, that's what they're called.
Muggy balls, fuck's sake. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of balls.
So yeah, they tear it down. Then he's in his smaller robot, and then the seeds that Usopp planted earlier in the film tear that robot apart.
I kind of like. I was thinking about it. I kind of like the logic of it because it's like, well, how come he didn't reform that into the robot? And he specifies earlier that it's like his power only works on like inanimate objects.
Yes.
And since Usopp seeds are alive, they were just stuck onto the robot, not able to crush it because he formed several giant robots around it, I guess.
Yeah, and then we get the traditional two guys just charging at each other until their animation tears apart with the sheer force of their punches.
Yes. The good
Let us
stuff.
scream and punch each other. Yeah.
And then we get Crocodile and Lucci trying to get the treasure, but then Sanji and Zoro show up to put a stop to
Hold them
that.
back. Mm.
And then once Luffy's got the treasure, he smashes it because no shortcuts.
Like as the themes of the film go, where it's kind of like, hey, this show, this series is going to take as long as it fucking takes. Just be patient. It'll be fun. I like that. Literally the character doing that. It's like, we're not going to just skip to the end. Come on. That's not fun.
And Rob Lucci's fine with that because I presume that's what he would have done himself. Because,
Why would he?
because they don't want anybody getting there.
They're more concerned not with getting it, like I assume Crocodile wants it, but
Yeah, Crocodile
they're more
wants
concerned with someone else not getting there, rather than
Yes.
getting it for themselves.
I've completely forgotten what Rob Lucci's motivations are. Water 7
Well,
was so long ago.
We don't really know now because, yes, when we saw him in the cover story, he had quit the CP9 and was being pursued by the government. And yet 2 years later, he's now in charge of the secret police.
And he's in charge of the super, super, super secret police,
Yes. And yet he is also clearly not entirely down with what the world government want by the fact that he lets people, warns people off, gives them plenty of leeway, doesn't just immediately murder people at the reverie for overstepping their mark. Yes, we don't know what the deal is with him yet, or his pigeon.
Yeah, is the pigeon the real? No. It's the thing of it's kind of like Crocodile's a little more obvious, but their motivations have changed since they were defeated. Because that's the thing. Like Oda says, he doesn't kill him because it's like, well, he just destroyed their goals and dreams. So if they're still in the show or the series, their motivations have changed and they're out to do something different or a variation of what they were doing before.
Yes. Yeah, because there's definitely, we know there's something in Crocodile's past we've not seen yet.
Yeah.
Because Eva has teased him about it, and Eva had something over Crocodile to make Crocodile behave when they're escaping Impel Down, and he's clearly there's probably something to do with Whitebeard as well, with how frustrated he gets with Whitebeard during the war. But yeah, I'm sure Crocodile's going to show up towards the end of the story again. I don't think anytime soon, because I don't think there's any reason for him to show up in the current arc. Not when
It'd be great if he did, though.
Not when there's such a massive queue of people who do have multiple reasons to show up.
God, there's so many people showing up, yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice reminder of who Crocodile is, and sort of like still has ambition, but it's probably more ambitious now. He's taken away the crutch of his secret organization, and he's got to go back to being a pirate.
His initial plan was just like, I want to take over this kingdom, and I'm just going to have my sweet little spot here, and I'll just stay here.
Yeah, because it feels a bit like
kind of like the lazy man's way out. Kind of thing.
Crocodile's is like a larger version of the same theme of Kuro's
Kuro?
story.
Yeah. I was thinking that as well, for sure.
Though Kuro we have not seen again unless we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shall see. I do always hope Kuro shows up, because I thought his fighting style was fantastic.
I think I said to you before, like, I feel like his thing was just like, it wasn't quite hacky, but it was closer to what the Cypher Pole guys had.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the perceptive hacky, where it was kind of like, he just wildly attacked rather than could focus it.
Sabo beats up
speed.
Buena Vesta, and then they make their escape because Ace shows up to help them, or a reasonable facsimile thereof.
Well, he's not out of fire, so that's most of the way there.
Yeah. Basically, they use the illusionary version of Ace's powers and Sabo's own powers, which used to be Ace's powers, to form a corridor of fire to let all the pirates off the island without the Marines getting to them. And we all live happily ever after.
Oh, and Smoker manages to call off the Buster call.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yes, because Kizaro's here as well. Yes, mustn't forget Kizaro, because he's one of my favourite characters.
He's there, and everyone's like, shit, but it gets called off right at the last second, because he's very fucking scary.
Yeah, I don't.
I just realized the ice. What
Kuzan,
former general? What's his name? He
Kuzan.
doesn't show up either.
He doesn't, but he's with Blackbeard, supposedly, we're told, within the text of the story of the comic.
What? What?
The specifics, I don't have a fucking clue, but yeah.
Yes, that's not been revealed why he's... I believe it might have been a conversation Aikanu was having as to why the hell is he with working with Blackbeard. Yep.
The little quote at the end is Nami chewing out Luffy, going like, "You motherfucker, we could have been done with this shit." But everyone else kind of going like, "Yeah, it makes sense that Luffy do that."
Yeah, he didn't want to know from Raleigh, did he? So he's not going to want it from here. Though it would really be useful, because they already know where 3 of the 4 polyglyphs they've required are. So we shall see. I do like the fact that Panda Man got to cameo as on both the pirate and the marine side at various points in the movie.
I spotted him, I think probably the most obvious ones, like 5 times, I think, but I've heard he's in it like 20 times or something. Something farcical anyway. It was good, yeah. I think my favorite was him reacting to the newspaper, just going like, "Oh my god."
Oh yeah, talking to newspaper, there's plenty of Morgans in this as well. And some of the other underworld figures. The ones we saw at the wedding, plus some others who haven't yet shown up.
What wasn't clear to me was how they were related to Festa. Was Festa just letting them in on what he was doing?
I think
it's like they were there to watch or something, because Morgans kept saying, "Is like, oh yeah, this will make a great headline," that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like So I think thematically, Fester is both sort of this movie's version of those underworld characters that we've seen ever since the New World started, and also the rival characters to Roger, because his deal is he's annoyed that Roger's era has overshadowed his era, so he faked his death and disappeared for a while.
Yeah, Roger stole the limelight is his motivation. It's like, I'm going to fuck up this era and make a new era where it's just chaos.
So have you got to them discussing the Rocks Pirates yet? I think it's a conversation Hina and Garp have at some point. Because that's the thing which they've been alluding to lately, and it's all characters we've met before, but presumably eventually we're going to get a flashback, probably Kaido, because we've had Big Mum's flashback already, where I suspect that's where we'll fill in the details on the previous era before Gold Roger's era, the Rocks Pirate era, which I think is 38 years before the current day.
And which, like, everyone who's a big player in this was all on the same boat, would you know?
Yes, they all knew each other in the same way that Shanks and Buggy knew each other, and all the Whitebeard crew members knew each other. Yeah, it's basically it's the generation before, which apparently Garp and Roger put a stop to. That is apparently why Garp is so well respected, despite being a senile delinquent.
Why he's so respected / why they can't promote him but can't deny him some promotion.
Well, no, they want to promote him to bring him in line. That's why he refuses to be promoted, because if he wants
to be down in the thick of it. Yeah.
Yes, if he was ever admiral, he'd have to obey orders. But as vice admiral, he can safely ignore orders.
That doesn't make any sense, Garp. Good stuff.
So that is Stampede. I'm not sure it's my favourite of the either overall. Overall, obviously, it's 6. It's still my favourite. But
which one is 6?
6 is the Mamoru Hosoda one with the horrifying. It's a pirate festival again.
Oh, that's not gonna. Yeah, it's gonna compare badly then.
But with the horrifying tube monster at the end, the crew get absorbed into. In yet another one of Hosoda's run of villains who cannot be reasoned with because they're totally alien.
Is that one? Do you find that one better? Oh, sorry, no, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, if we're talking about what our favorite is of the new generation, I think Z is still my favorite.
That's very good.
But I think I like that one because it gives us so much good backstory on the vice admirals that had kind of been missing up until that point. So I like how it's integrated.
Yeah, that's true.
Into the larger One Piece canon.
Yeah, it's a weirdly marine-focused film, and they tend to be very much so side characters because we're mostly focusing on pirates here.
Yeah.
So it gives them a little bit of background.
But yeah, it's still enjoyable, and if it's the final film I saw in the cinema, I'm fine with that. Let's hope not, but you never know. Not making any plans. It definitely helps that they take their time with each of these movies, because I think that's probably they need to start doing that with the My Hero Academia movies. Because I mean, I've not seen them, but I never hear any great things about them.
I saw one of them, the one on the island thing. I liked the last fight, and I can't really remember most of the rest of the movie, which isn't a great job.
For Gold?
For My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
God, the one on the island in One Piece. What the fuck one would I be talking about?
All of them?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know what else could follow though. I think My Hero Academia is probably it. Because I don't think there's room for a Promised Neverland movie unless they just like condense the series. But they've got to animate the series first.
But weren't they planning to do live action movies for Promised Neverland at some point?
I mean, it would make sense. I feel like it might actually work better as live action. than
Yeah.
as anime.
Would you have to get like really good kid actors though, or would you do the thing of like getting 20 and over year olds? To
No,
play
you'd
little
have to
kids?
get really good kid actors.
Mm.
Yeah, there is that issue. But having said that, I from watching a bunch of tokusatsu stuff, I generally find the chances of them finding really good kid actors better than finding really good 19-year-old actors.
Damn.
Ouch.
I watched Rio Saga. The kid was definitely the best actor in that.
Woof.
I mean, partly because I think she'd been acting longer than anybody else in it, but
Oh dear.
yeah, we've got live action One Piece as well. Don't forget about that.
I still don't know what the fuck to think
I
about that.
forgot about that. Oh man.
Well, I'm sure Netflix will remind you occasionally, and then they'll spring it on you after we've had Cowboy Bebop first, though.
It'll be an interesting addition, I guess, to the franchise, but yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because Box Office Mojo's now hidden behind the paywall on IMDb, I can't tell you how other things have compared to this or how well this did either. Because Haikyuu's had movies, hasn't it? I think, because that would be the other one I would say that. But are they just compilations of? Are they just compilations of the series? I don't know. It's had 1, 2, 3, 4 movies. 2 in 2015 and 2 in 2017. There we go. And obviously we've had the thing which I compared this to when I was watching it in my head was Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, especially with the villain, sure.
Yes.
Really big guy who wants to be strongest. Okay, yeah, that's
the hero in Dragon Ball Super.
I guess that's true, yeah. That's the hero / a bunch of the heroes, yeah.
Yeah, whereas Broly's kind of the victim in Dragon Ball Super Broly. And I think I still might prefer that more, just because it's a smaller story and it's not trying to force every character in. And it has such a petty motivation for its villain of what Frieza wants to wish with for the Dragon Balls. But
It is really cool that we're getting consistently quality movie adaptations of these gigantic franchises now. Because it used to be like a Dragon Ball Z movie or a One Piece movie was almost guaranteed to be kind of crappy.
yes, 50-50.
Yeah.
I think on
Just
One Piece.
churning them out like once a year. And changing, I guess this is all rooted in just changing their production method so that they just take a lot longer to do it and they work more closely with the original mangaka has kind of done wonders to make them much more entertaining.
Like, I think this is, I mean, as well as the last few One Piece movies, this is one of the ones Oda had a lot of involvement in as well. I think he insisted on it being like an anniversary kind of thing. So a big fucking party celebration. It's like, we got to bring in all these guys, not just as a reminder, but as a, just like, hey, you love all these guys. Here they are.
Yeah, at the same time, I can't think of what who else could do this. So My Hero Academia, I think they could take longer and it'd be more effective because My Hero Academia has spin-offs, and in one case the spin-off's better than the original.
Oh, I love the original, but fucking Vigilantes, man, it's very good.
Yes. So I think you can do spin-off movies for that and have it work. Just take a bit more time. But yeah, a lot of Black Clover. Yeah, Black Clover, you could do it as well. I'm pretty sure. And I think Black Clover might benefit from a movie budget because it sometimes suffers trying to get the artwork of the comic onto the screen and for a TV schedule. We'll see about Jujutsu Kaisen. I suspect that might blow up big, and I can see there's room for that as well. With the here's a made for movie curse that your heroes are got to deal with. So
yeah, like a movie specific curse.
But that's got to
So
get
it'd be
there
easy enough.
first. That's got to get there first before we even think about getting a movie. Whereas,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Dr. Stone, I don't know. It doesn't seem like
That
a big
seems like a
enough
tough
hit
one.
as an anime to get there yet. And say everything else hasn't got his anime, has it? So we're probably a long way off. And Chainsaw Man, I think, is next in the queue to get an anime.
Yeah.
And goodness knows
Ooh.
what that's going to look like. A family outing to see the Chainsaw Man movie.
Oh no. Don't get me wrong, I love Chainsaw Man, but I love Chainsaw Man because it is like absolutely nothing else that Shonen Jump could do.
No.
right?
Yeah.
And how in the world are they going to adapt that? It's gonna have to be like a late night anime kind of adaptation deal, right?
Yeah, I think it will have to be.
Hide your kids.
If it was a little more crass, I don't know like how you do that. I don't fucking know. It could be like one of those VHS release 90s anime kind of fucking things.
It does
But,
have that vibe, doesn't it? That's
Yeah, it's ugly. It's just you feel dirty.
What it reminds me of is Kevin O'Neill stuff in the 80s for 2000 AD.
Oh, you mean like that kind of like really blotchy kind of ink kind of stuff, or
Yeah, I just like the presence of chainsaws for a start. That's more his stuff in martial law. But yeah, like the scratchy demons as well. It kind of reminds me a bit of things out of Nemesis the Warlock. Yeah,
I
like
can see that.
like
Sure.
Black Clover, I feel like that's going to have a struggle catching the art style and putting it on screen when it gets there. And yeah, most of the other new stuff is gag stuff. Too soon to talk about Undead Unluck, but yeah, everything else is gags. I mean, we'll probably get a Magic and Muscles because apparently that's doing very well. Anime, so we'll see about everything else.
We'll definitely get Spy Family, right?
Yeah, I think just because of the awards it's got. But yeah, that's gonna.
It's a really good comic. I think once that gets an anime adaptation, that's gonna blow up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key. You have to get anime adaptation which actually boosts the sales of the comic as well.
Yeah, because you can do well as the comic, but that's not good enough, unfortunately.
Because that's what Demon Slayer did, and yeah, could they do? I guess the way Demon Slayer ended, you technically could do a movie, but it'd be a weird movie. And I guess you could technically do a movie anyway, with just like here's a side story of something which happened off panel.
Aren't they doing a movie already to adapt some of the story arcs?
Possibly. I don't pay too much attention because it's UFO table, and I'm like, oh god, pay your taxes, stop embezzling money. Oh yeah, no, there is a film. You're correct. It is.
Yeah, I think they're adapting the next story arc in a film.
Coming
Or at
October.
least that's how. Okay, October. Cool. Oh, Demon Slayer is like the most. How do I put this? So that it doesn't sound bad. It's paint by numbers, kind of Shonen Jump schlock, but I kind of liked it.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
So.
No, dude, listen. There's nothing wrong with fast food as long as it tastes good.
Yeah, it is.
You don't want shitty fast food. You want to say, oh, this stuff tastes amazing. There's nothing wrong with good schlock. That's fine.
Yeah, the bigger issue is everything else now slightly tastes of Demon Slayer.
Yeah, it's the taste sensation that everyone else is trying to imitate.
In one way, well, is that and also Sergeant Frog. That seems to be the other thing everyone's imitating at the moment. But
that was an unexpected
God.
one, but
Right.
yeah.
I didn't make that connection, but you're 100% right. Morikeen,
Magu-chan, yeah.
comic about, the robot.
Yeah, the Robocode is more directly going for Doraemon because of his two friends look like the two friends from Doraemon.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. There's also that new comic that they just released the first 3 chapters of with the dolphin detective.
Yes. It's very fascist in that first chapter.
That's a very poor timing. It's very poor timing on planet Earth.
But second chapter is very weird. I've not read the next 2, partly because one only just came out as we were talking. But But yeah, I haven't read 3 yet. I like 2 with the weird squid man and those designs, but
it definitely feels more so like I think this is what they're going for. That first one was trying to have that little reveal of what the actual fucking comic's going to be about, and also a bunch of fascism, which kind of like left a weird taste. But yeah, it seems to be more so setting up its deal with sea crime, basically.
But before we wrap up, as I try to wrap up the podcast, it's time for a game.
He's been trying to wrap up for like the last 30 minutes.
No, it's partly my own fault. It's time to climb inside Brian's anime time machine and for me to find out how much you know about One Piece and the order in which events in One Piece occurred.
Oh, Jesus. Right.
So we'll go alphabetical order. We'll start with Bradley, then to Dwayne. So I'm going to start you with an event. So our initial event is Monkey D. Luffy leaves Fuchsia Village. So all you've got to tell me, Bradley, is whether the next event happened before or after that.
Okay.
So Cutty Flam adopts the identity Frankie.
Huh, because that happens in a flashback arc. So I'm going to say after.
That's incorrect. It is before. It was 4 years before.
Yeah, Frankie's like 30-something, isn't he? An old man by
he's
anime
older than I
standards.
thought. Wow.
Yeah.
I think 34, 36 now. Dwayne.
Right.
So in relation to Cutty Flam adopted, so it's in relation to the previous statement.
Yeah.
Cavendish becomes a supernova.
Cavendish. That's got to be after, right?
That is after. Yeah, that's 3 years after Cutty Flam became Frankie. So, point to Dwayne. Bradley, back to you. Luffy first meets Marshall D. Teach.
And this is in relation to Cavendish becoming a supernova.
Yes.
Okay. So now I have to do math.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 years after he took the name and he took the name as a kid, then I'm going to say that's after.
That is after, yes. That's the following year.
Okay.
Dwayne. Big Mum gives birth to dectuplets.
Ah, shit. Ooh, I'm going to say before.
Yeah, that's way before.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to remember, it's like, which one of those piles of kids is that? Yeah.
Yeah, those kids are at least teenagers by the time we see them in the Big Mom. So, and since that's 2 years after Marshall D. Teach meets...
Oh, that's good timeline. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Bradley. Gold Roger is executed.
Ooh, that's interesting. So I think the kids are 18, so that's got to be before because it was 30 years.
That is correct.
Like was the start.
22 years ago, but yes, that is correct still.
Page.
Yeah, it's 22 years ago, I think. Gold Roger was executed. Yes, but that is correct. It's 6 years before Mum gave birth to those dectuplets. Dwayne. Slightly easier one here. You can thank Random List Organizer for this. Mr. 3 joins Buggy's crew.
After.
Yes.
That was a softball.
Bradley. Shanks asks Whitebeard to stop Ace from attacking Teach.
Shanks asks Whitebeard to stop Ace from attacking Teach.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the order as well.
It's the scene where Shanks shows up and
who all these people are, and then I have to think, okay, where were all these people? Were they all? It's got to be the Whitebeard War, right? That's the only time they. No, because that could have been one of Aisha's flashbacks, actually. Oh.
Because they were on the same ship, sure, yeah.
Yeah, they were on Whitebeard's ship.
Or the same crew, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, I bet that is during Ace's flashback. But that would have been so Ace would have left Luffy. Oh shoot, that's actually probably not a good way to try and
this
figure
is in
out
relation to Mr. 3 joining Buggy's crew.
Yeah.
remember.
Is? Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out. So, Mr. 3 joins. Oh, I don't even know when that is, actually. All right, I'm going to guess after.
No, it's before. It's a couple of months before. He
Wow.
warns him, but it's already
Okay.
too late. Blackbeard has already killed Ace by that point. Oh, not captured him by that point, rather.
Mm.
Righty-ho. Dwayne.
Mm.
Luffy uses Haki for the first time in relation to Shanks asking Whitebeard to stop Ace from attacking Teach.
I think that's before.
No, that's a month later.
Ah, that's tight. Ah, this is fun.
Bradley, last one for you. Chance here to
All right.
draw. Ace, Sabo, and Luffy swear an oath of brotherhood.
Before.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Now, tough one for Dwayne to finish off. Otohime is assassinated.
Oh shit. Let me think.
They're both flashbacks, but which one came
I
first?
think that I think that happened before they became blood brothers.
Oh, afraid not. It was 2 years later. So
Damn
it is a
it.
draw.
I knew it would have been tight because her daughter's around the same age as Luffy, and I was just like, shit, I think that was a little before. Yeah. Okay. That was a good game. I enjoyed that.
It is. Yes, I was struck with the idea for these new games is to go into Board Game Geek and look at the trivia section and look at games, and if not copy the game, totally like just inspire me.
Take the rules and stick them on what you want.
Well, I was basically like, a lot of them are Timeline, the top ones for trivia, and Timeline is a game where you're given cards with events on, and you have to like position them in the order you think those events happened.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, it's not quite that, but that's a good thing, particularly for a very long story with a lot of background.
Can you remember 20 plus years?
And even more of that, because it's got, and also handily somebody had written a web page with a massive timeline, which I think starts at like the world is created, then dinosaurs appeared, and then then slowly works its way up to the present.
Oh dear.
I figured if one show somebody had done that for, it would have been One Piece. And I also know the other show that it's definitely been done for, which is Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Righty-ho, that is the end of the podcast. Do either of you want to plug anything? Dwayne.
I do Secret of the Sailor Madness with Niall Flanagan. We should have a show coming up on The Critic with Libby Cudmore in the pipeline. And also I do a podcast with you, Brian, but I assume you're going to talk about that.
I
That's
am,
fine.
yes. We also, me and Dwayne and Niall do Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime that you can find on dynamiteinthebrain.com, on your various podcast aggregators of your choice, but also on YouTube at Let's Go JoJo Show. And there's a link if you're on the Dynamite in the Brain podcast channel on YouTube, where you can find this podcast. There'll be a link to that there as well. Otherwise, you can also find me on Twitch at Let's Go Brian, where I am regularly streaming Yakuza games. At the time of recording, it'll be Yakuza 4. Hopefully by the time you listen to this as an MP3, it'll be Yakuza 5, but we'll see. I don't know how long Yakuza 4 is. I suspect it's very long. But we will see. Otherwise, stay tuned to this channel for more podcasts. I don't know how frequent they'll be with that, Anthony. But I've got a few more irons in the fire, so hopefully something in 2 weeks' time. Righty-ho, we'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.